Hi everybody, it's Kiara. How are you? I was going to take you along on a little journey that I'm doing, and I'm still going to take you along, but I changed kind of what I was doing. Actually, I forgot to set the video camera up is kind of what it was. As you guys have heard me talk about, actually, let's wait. Hi, I'm Kiara. I am a native New Yorker who lives in Northwest Arkansas. I am a wife, mom. During the school year, I work in SPED as a paraprofessional. I'm an active DAR member. I do genealogy, all sorts of stuff. So, all around crafter. So, this came about as part of the DAR. I've got something on my glasses, guys. So, this came part of the DAR. Our state chair for the American Indian Committee sent this quilt-along they're doing. I'm going to talk about it. Should not be starting a quilt-along, another one, at all, by any stretch of the imagination. I got too many projects going on, but this one kind of struck a nerve with me, and it has to do with the America 250, and it's short. It's only 4 blocks, and they're going to finish 10 by 10, 10 and a half by 10 and a half. Mine are off, but it's all good. So it began on June 2nd, and we didn't get it to this week, but I'm going to talk to you. It is a quilt-along put out by the National Museum of the American Indian, and you can go to I'll link it below, but this is what block 1 should be. This is hand applique. This block is 10 and a half by 10 and a half. I don't applique by hand. I could do very little. And to make all these little bison or buffalo, nope, not happening. So I looked at it and I was like, okay. So this block, the inspiration represents the pre-contact life of Native and Indigenous peoples of the Americas. When I share stories through my artwork, I do so from my own worldview and perspective. So the designer of this block is Lauren Goodday, and it tells you about her and her history as an artist, and what tribes she belongs to. It's really detailed about what you need and everything. Really well done. So I said, okay, this was the idea. Okay, I can come up with something. And when I saw this, I was like, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? So I said, I'm going to do it because I'm originally from New York. And for those of you that don't know, New York has a strong connection to the Native American history. There's still a very big most of our towns are named from Native Americans, all sorts of things, okay? So I was like, okay. And I remember growing up going to the Bronx Zoo and learning about the desecration of the buffalo and how they were near extinction. So they've always had like a strong place in my heart. So I said, okay, I can get on board with this. So I was like, okay, what can I do? I don't hand applique. Got an embroidery machine. So I went and found a buffalo. And what the funny thing is, the first buffalo that popped up happened to be from a dear sweet friend of mine. I used to test her embroidery designs. I love her embroidery designs. I will link her store down below. Her name is Heather. She's a sweetie. I love her to pieces. So let me show you that this is my block. This actually happens to be some leftover fabric that I had here from this quilt-along. And then I was like, I had some Kansas troubles somewhere that I was doing another sew along. It was like 100 blocks. I don't even know where the blocks are. 100 blocks in 100 days and some nonsense years ago. I was like, but I have some Kansas troubles. You know what? Kansas troubles is gonna work good with this. So I threw a piece of the background in an embroidery hoop. I backed it with SF 101. I used no-show mesh. I use heat and bond on my applique pieces. I wish that I had used a slightly heavier, I wish I had used maybe a medium weight cutaway or something, but I didn't, or an extra piece of no-show mesh, because I did get a tiny bit of ruffling, but it's okay. When I quilt it, I can quilt it out. And it's funny because my fabric was bubbling and I was like, I'm gonna have to redo this. And then, but once I put the heat and bond down, I was able to get it to lay flat, which might be why it's buckling. So then I trimmed my block down to 7 by 7, and then I cut my strips to 2 by 2. I probably should have did 2.5 by 2.5 and then cut them down. I probably would have had the right size. I'm slightly short of a 10.5 inch block. But this is my first block. I love it. I'm so happy with it. July 1st comes the next block, and this is what the background is going to be like. Okay, block 1 is the pre-contact to the American Revolution, anytime prior to 1776. Then we have post-American Revolution, which is 1776 to 1901. And then block 3 is 20th century to present day. And then block 4 is our shared future, 2026 and beyond. So it'll be interesting. And I'm kind of hoping that not everything is applique, but it might be. So I might have to figure it out. I don't know if it says if every block is applique. Oh, and they did raw edge. So, which if had I read it was raw edge, I probably could have blown it up and done one. I don't like, applique is hard for me. She did that. I'm just looking. Okay, they did fusible fleece or low lift. Oh, maybe they were doing this as quilt as you go. Okay, whatever it is, I will figure it out. And I'm not sure I'm going to do this setting either. Okay, it's going to represent a chronological history of the United States. Each block depicts. So, it's a cute thing. I like it. It's 5-inch border. Ooh, okay. And then it gives a bit about the American history, the American Indian Museum. It's funny, when I was little and I went to school in New York, we went on a school trip, and there's an American Indian Museum in New York. And we went, and I remember we went and we watched Native American dancing, and it was just beautiful. So I use Kansas Troubles, and I have a bin right here. This is the only Kansas Troubles I ever bought. I love the line. I like how it looks, but I just never knew what to do with it. So I have my Kansas Troubles in here. So it'll be exciting to see what the different blocks are and if I can keep going on. So I started a new project. Should not have started a new project, but I'm happy I did. It made me happy. I'm gonna take a picture of this and put it at the end to show you. But this is my block 1. All right, if you join along or follow along, I'll have a good time doing it. So I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.